This is good. I think I told you. Totally, like, just answer the question. Not having the answer. Being asked for it.
You can move the tower down if you want.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull
Yeah,
this.
because that's much higher than it normally is. Yeah, that's always more fun here.
Right.
And then the other thing is going on is, so my wife got to keep talking for your house bill.
Oh, okay.
And so it's, why family was busted.
Yeah. Is that right? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that tightens it. I'm sorry, didn't do that.
Hindsight, I probably should have took it off. Let's try.
Yeah, going too fast, huh? Do that. And then we say, we shouldn't do that, but we do anyway. He said, "No."
That's how it goes sometimes, right?
It's always on that.
Well, you know, you're.
Yeah.
Right.
I said, oh, wait a minute.
Right. More than I know.
Wait, fire. Five.
Fire. It was fire. And I would always have to have someone else for it. Right.
Might as well. Hi. Your speaker. Ah. Sure. Hanging in there. Hi.
Wow. Good to see you. That is right. But the good, you know, for 30. Yeah, oh, you're right. Okay. Okay, I see you this morning. Good to see you.
Hi, how you doing?
Good, you're Steve's colleague?
I am Steve's colleague.
I brought a flash drive.
To the PowerPoint that was sent to us.
I have it.
You have
Did you get it? I brought a flash drive of it.
I'll need the flash drive. The OneDrive link, we didn't have permission to open it.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Who would you like us to say? Well, we sit here with, or Darnell. But we sit with Darnell, if you guys are acquainted.
Yeah, how you doing, bud? This way you like to do
And we had Nickel.
Yeah.
Preview.
All right, well, good.
Oh, you go right ahead. Yeah. I'll next talk to him in a minute for about the PowerPoint.
Yeah.
The Raiders numbers.
There's a link that sometimes I show a video and sometimes it doesn't work, so I was gonna see if it's even embedded in there.
Do you know what slide?
Let me see, it's gonna come up on the community code, let's see.
Yes, he's done.
Yeah, let's see that, sometimes it doesn't work, so it doesn't, if it doesn't, it doesn't. I just thought it should-
Let's see if we started.
That shot from material. Hi, guys. How you doing? I'm good. You know, there's a bar. That's what you know, yeah. You can't support. I think it's.
See, companies, maybe I'll always have some depth.
There we go. All right. That was, I think it might be because I'm running. Last year. Okay. Are you familiar with how to move
Yes.
slides back and forth?
Yeah, so, well, do you have to, will I use that then? That way.
This guy did not exist the last time I did this. so-
Okay, yeah. You're still thinking anyway.
Watch those films of the Pacific War. Number of times. I started looking out on Dave, I was really looking out for
Oh, yeah, yeah.
that.
Did, the video didn't work then, right?
I didn't have to.
Okay, we'll change to. Just trying to see if the clicker will work.
That is a laser pointer. That is not.
Oh, it's not, oh, okay.
It's supposed to be.
Well, I could hear something, and I couldn't tell if it was wind whistling or
Oh, maybe,
siren.
oh, maybe it's this.
I was.
Ah, that's. That's right.
You'll see, I'll just stand here and pop buttons.
There we go.
Got it.
All right, so now.
What happened, is it movement or? I'm not sure.
There you go.
There we go, okay. Let's see if that video.
Couple of tornado watches, warning, southern, southeastern time, and.
They had no.
Charming, you know.
It was looking like a.
That's right. You don't want to go outside and take pictures.
Yeah.
The worst tornado.
Okay, we'll get by without them. All right, start at the beginning. Thank you very much. Thanks for your help. I'll
I
just
will
leave it
be
up here.
In the back corner.
What's your first name?
Rob.
Linda. Yes, okay, thank you very much.
Yeah. That happened. And then it was all right. Anything to write on or? Anything to write with?
Yeah. But we're about, how did you get your phone? If you ever know it, if you ever know. I don't know anyone self. Very good. Like everybody's.
Right.
Yeah, well, sure. And other. Just from this. Like breaking for you, or you don't. And therefore. Okay. I don't want to be change.
You already signed it. You signed it, or.
And you're working.
Very happy.
Okay, all ready, go.
What they're saying is that, we should be pretty
Okay. Yeah,
that would be.
maybe I'll be more like.
I just look at it as a donation.
Yeah.
So,
I didn't see.
no, well, that's just. Oh.
I went down there.
No, no.
I read when I finished.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I think,
So I went to my little
my
valley.
wife, I think you're.
About 15. Yeah, but I know you met with.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I was trying to, it's why I was trying.
It was the third.
City. Yeah, I mean, you were there at the same time we wanted to. Get turned away.
You were a third player.
Hey, PG, you in the dark last.
Yeah.
What's that? You're reading, you'll be. Yeah, never, good memory.
Not today.
That was very nice.
Well, I don't know anything.
Oh. That was going on. The chef.
It was good.
It was out the fire engine number 5. Really?
Sure, I'll live. We all. So, every day is going well.
Oh, we're good.
Sure, got it all work. Gone through so much adversity.
You seen the movie I called you? So yeah, you forwarded that and then, you know, and that's sports is right there. Yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah.
I'm Phil.
Linda, you're speaking today.
I'm with your speaker. I don't want to.
Hey, Mr. Bill, all right, good. I apologize for last week. Lying, on my overload on. Sorry, I have one.
So where are you now?
Wow.
Oh.
That's great. Very nice.
Well, they were very fast. Oh, I guess you're. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Oh, so that's interesting.
It is a nice spot. Wow. Come on in. Yeah.
You don't get any more here,
Yeah, we're up on the hill.
So are
you in the same side? On the same side.
So our bathroom.
Okay, well, yeah.
Silver down or something.
Yeah, backyard.
Probably should go to Teresa.
They share some of like.
Oh, well, they were gonna.
Right off the streets.
Yeah, that one.
They could use it.
They're not in dragon.
No, no.
So with those properties. Yeah. Yeah, we had.
Well. This is
We don't even.
That always was.
Yeah, that's Swiss.
That's good. That's every 3 years.
Right.
Grader out, grade the, just squeeze it, season it, throws them all the way on.
Plus you get 7 jack. Oh, no, actually, it's rarely that That's every 3 months. And he does
Oh, I mean, then I was passionate about it, also speaking, I mean, to do it, you're curious about it, please.
They said,
I would like that.
we all do it a different.
Like,
But that, you know, my, it's sort of them that group. Five, you know, but, yeah, no, but,
All right.
yeah, we're coming. Good. You. Little while. See you. Working, traveling. Good. That's a lot of damage right there.
I'm always here.
That's very nice.
I know.
Yeah, a long time after I thought I'd come back to the. I get home, I go to the street. Oh, my God. But I'm not really doesn't slow down, I have time. Is that right? I wonder about what is going on.
I know, I'm Teresa Russell. Yeah, I'm president here. So I'm so excited to see you on the schedule. Okay. Yeah, it's awesome. Oh, hi, I don't think we've met. I'm Teresa Russell. Nice to meet you. Yeah, Lynn's always in the spotlight with things that are going on. What's going on right here? Lots of great stuff. Hi. How are you all? Thank you for coming. We've had the old thing for the generation. Is that?
Thinking about.
Other side.
Together, yeah. And I know.
Was our first time.
I was gonna sign out. I told you why.
Maybe I'm just curious about what was going on, but I haven't seen a lot of it. I was down there for 3 weeks. I spent a lot of time, so.
Yeah, we're actually. It managed to rebuild that.
Where'd Joe Buddy go? Where did he go? Where is he?
I think that's gonna leave me up here by myself. I'm gonna have to recruit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why?
I'm recruiting someone.
Well, I have to leave early, that's why I was sitting back. Okay. No problem.
I did know it. It wasn't on the bulletin, but I have a separate list.
Well, I do this very job on the website. That's why. Whoever
I
sent
sent it
it.
to her a long time ago.
You might. But.
Not today.
Right.
Today's the first.
But it's the. Where everybody is listening.
He did not. He just sent me a separate.
So I did. See, so now so she will go to that, that's where she's getting it. She probably threw away or.
Thank you.
So the only checks I clock.
Are you?
I did for Family Mentor Foundation, but I'll wait till the board approves them. I'm trying to sit back. How are you? Hello, one of you. How are you? I am calling it one from two. You're gonna go. Say hello. You're not hating. I just couldn't get my lottery tickets. I always like to get. I've won a couple times, so.
Oh, that they were.
All right. I think we're gonna go ahead and get started. Hello, everybody. Welcome, visitors, past Rotarians, and guests and friends. My name is Teresa Russell, and I am the club president of the Dublin Worthington Club of Rotary. And this is our 30th meeting of our 49th year. And I want to welcome Tom Rice to do the invocation and the pledge.
Let us pray. Loving God, we thank you for the gift of Rotary. In Rotary, we care about people, and we want to partner with you in helping people to flourish, body, mind, and spirit. Bless this time together, we pray, as we enjoy deep friendships and as we think together about the gift of sports and how athletics can delight us and strengthen us and help us all to grow in body, mind, and spirit. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, anybody with announcements, go ahead and make your way up, and Tim Shear is going to welcome our visitors and guests for us.
Thank you, Teresa. Larry Clark, it's really good to see you back. Well, unless it's synchronized today. I'm delighted to, come back up here in a few minutes and tell you a little bit about our guest speaker today, Linda Logan, who's gonna talk a little bit about sports in Columbus. But I wanna take a moment to recognize also my friend and her husband, Will Logan. Will, stand up and, let me remind everybody, that Will was kind enough to be our videographer when the Mongolians were first here, so that's 7 years ago, I think.
Getting to be a little bit of time.
I wish Roger Johnson was here because Will took all this great footage of Roger's model railroad and the Mongolians enjoying the day, enjoying that very much. So let's give Will a one clap welcome.
Thank you. Any announcements?
Yes, I put a sign-up sheet on your table for the food drive, which is coming up. And as you can see, a couple locations are already filled. A couple of locations need your help. Thank you.
Thank you. And you may all know, but mark your calendars, April 19th and 20th is our district assembly. And there are details on the website about that if you want more information. And we have a sergeant today. What do we have?
First,
Oh, another announcement? Okay.
another announcement. Some of you may know Chuck Claiborne, Dennis, longtime member of this club, passed away yesterday. And that's all I know.
Thank you. Yeah, Rose sent me that message this morning, so there will be an email going out to the club about that. Hello. Okay, we have a sergeant. You ready, Ken?
Ready? Always ready. Thank you. Put your $3 out, please. You're about to lose it. It's coming. Who wants to volunteer to carry the pot? Thank you, Darnell. Start with our traditional happy dollars. Who's got happy bucks? Yes, sir.
Got two of them. Pat and I are very proud of our son Andrew for two reasons. He got his driver's license when he was 17 years old. About a month ago, he realized he hadn't renewed it in 6 months. So he had to take the test over. And he tried me to take the driving test, obviously, and he passed. His like second one is that his firm, Squire Patent Box, and countrywide, this firm announced 5 new partners. Thank you. I know the word. 5 new partners. Andrew King was one of them.
Wow.
Right. Dave, that's very impressive. Thank God for your wife's gene pool. Others, happy dollars. Larry, good to see you. No other happy bucks? Larry.
Well, at 5 o'clock this morning, I was awakened by the siren. They do work in Franklin County, and it was pretty exciting. We were glad that we're still here.
Absolutely.
Other people in Columbus are fine.
Larry, you had your hand up. You got some?
Yes, I'm, happy to be back too. Happy to be retired and happy to be here.
Happy to have you back.
All right, I'll do a happy one.
Please do.
To Harry's point, I didn't even hear it. I woke up at 6 o'clock and missed the entire thing. I know.
Teresa, I wish I could sleep that sound. Anybody else? Happy bug. All right, what's tomorrow?
Leap
Day.
February 29th, happens every so often. For the entire room, this is for everybody to pay a fine. Who created leap year and when?
Yeah, but
Had to be during
Does anybody have a clue? You should know the person. You're never gonna get the year. That's why I'm doing this, because I'm up here to raise money. 33 what?
AD,
It was, is that your first and final guess?
yes.
It was Julius Caesar. It was 46 BC. $1 for everybody. Who can name a famous entertainer with an affiliation with professional golf who was born on February 29th? Give you a clue, it's a female. Good for you.
Yay.
Good for you, that's impressive.
Thank you.
It has to be somebody with some sports trivia knowledge. Absolutely. Anybody see the end of the Cleveland Cavalier game last night?
yes.
Yes.
I wish I had that range. I wouldn't be here talking to you if I had had that. Here's today's question regarding that shot. If a professional basketball player shoots the shot 10 feet short of the midcourt line, what's the distance of that shot?
67 feet.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
You're only off by 10 feet. Full basketball court is 94 feet. Obviously, the midpoint is 47. If you're 10 feet short of that, it's a pretty good guess. You got the last digit right. 57 feet, everybody, that's $1 for everybody. Have a great week, everybody. That's all I got.
For a beer, you put it in your social media.
Julian.
All right. Ro, we have one more announcement. Sorry.
So anyway, I wanted to make sure I announced to everyone today, our Worthington Kilbourne Interact students are doing a fundraiser next Tuesday with Mod Pizza on Sawmill Road. I have certificates here. If you go and order a pizza on Tuesday, the students will get 50% of the proceeds to the club. So please support our Interact students and have a pizza, and you don't have to cook one, right? Thank you.
Thanks.
Is it all day or just in the evening?
I believe it's all day. I don't know what their hours are, to be honest. I'll put these on the tables.
Thank you. All right, I think we're ready for our wonderful program.
Thank you, Teresa. I'm delighted that, my former neighbors and, good friends, Linda and Will Logan are here to join us for a meal, and Linda's here to tell us a little bit about the Greater Columbus Sports Commission. Linda is the founding CEO there. She's organized, staged, and directed hundreds of meetings, concerts, sporting events, and conventions throughout the United States. Some major events included the NCAA Women's Final Four presidential debates and the UN Summit on Trade. She graduated from OU and served on the board of the Sports Administration and Facility Management Program. Linda was the national chair of the National Association of Sports Commissions, now Sports ETA. Linda earned additional certification from the International Association of Venue Managers, School for Public Facility Managers, Business First Power 100, and Most Admired Executives, and the YWCA's Women of Achievement, a devoted Cleveland baseball fan. Please join me in welcoming my fellow Guardians, no, Indians aficionado, Linda Logan.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks, Robert, in advance, if I have any technical issues here. But thank you so much. I'm Linda Logan, as Tim said, CEO of the Greater Columbus Sports Commission, also a Worthington resident. Just a little history of my background with the Rotary. When I worked at the Kansas City Convention Center, I was an event coordinator there for about 7 years back in the mid 1980s. And we hosted the International Convention of Rotary, and that was my account, so I got to work with the best and the brightest with all of you. I'm not sure if any of you were there, but it was a very exciting event for Kansas City to host, so. And then Will's father, my father-in-law, he was very involved with the Rotary in Worcester, and I think he won an award, is it Paul Harris? Yes, so his name was Win Logan. A wonderful father-in-law, so just thought I'd mention. Anyway, well, while I'm here today is to tell you a little bit about the work of the Greater Columbus Sports Commission. As Tim mentioned, I was the founder. When I was working and living in Kansas City, I'm from Ohio. I hail from Fairport Harbor, northeast of Cleveland. We have a lot of Finnish, Finns, Hungarians, and Slovenians there. But I was able to have a real passion for the Cleveland Indians back then, and followed them, still follow them very devotedly, but went to Ohio University and was part of I was majored in communication, but I was very, very blessed to be part of their sports administration program. They were one of the first in the country to have that major. That event, that program took me around the country for jobs in Cleveland, Milwaukee, Kansas City, and then my sister convinced me to move here to Columbus when she had her second son, and she said, "Don't you want your nephews to know you better?" So I moved here and I got a job at our convention center here in Columbus right as we were building it. But Kansas City had the very first sports commission. So I'll talk a little bit about that throughout my comments today, but I'm gonna get started here and show you a few slides, but let's make this very interactive. So I think I've got this going here. All right, so our purpose is to really rally Columbus to offer the best athlete and fan experience for sports. So we're actually measured on 3 things. Enhance the image of Columbus through sports, enrich the quality of life, which really means doing great things for Columbus through sports, and then economic development or economic impact. We're actually measured. Our team of 12, we have hotel room, our KPIs, our key measurables. One is the booking of hotel room nights. So we actually have hotel room night quotas every year. We have to book over 130,000 new hotel rooms for the city for multiple years. So we are a sister organization to Experience Columbus. We're an LLC, the destination marketing organization. So really those are the big 3 things that we're measured on. So what do we do and how do we get all that work done? So in our 21 years, we have brought over 600 new events to Columbus while also being involved with a lot of the annual business, whether it's high school championships or some of our annual races or golf tournaments, which represent, just for those new events, over $500 million worth of direct spend is how we really measure some of the work that we do. Over the years, we've become a destination that champions sports for girls and women. We kind of do it very honestly by the fact that we have some amazing coaches. Think about Ohio State and multiple programs. Right now, the women's basketball team is ranked 2nd in the country, but not only Ohio State, but whether it's Capital, Denison, just our region itself, we're very fortunate to have so many women in sports playing at a very high level, whether as administrators, coaches, but that's become one of the things that we hang our hat on. We've been able to host some of the biggest events in women's sports in the country, and we've done very well at the turnstiles as well. We hosted the Women's Final Four in 2018, and it's coming back here again in 2027. We'll talk a little bit about why they are coming back and what made it so special. We also hosted the NCAA Women's Volleyball Championships twice in 2016 and 2021. And we also have created some additional programming. I guess I'm skipping my notes here. We've also done some cool things for shining the spotlight for girls and women's sports. We have an event called the Women's Sports Report, where we recognize state champions and national champions. And there's very few cities around the country that are actually doing that. Seattle, Kansas City, Portland, to name a few. So we're really proud of those efforts as well. So this just gives you a couple of great slides of some of the great girls and women that have competed here. And then what is the industry and about as a whole? So technically speaking, sports tourism in Ohio, it's nothing new to the area. The fact that we're only 21 years old really was something that was being talked about much before we started it. But for instance, Kansas City and San Diego were the very first cities to actually create a sports commission back in the 1960s. And in both cases, our industry started because they were trying to build stadiums, arenas, and lure professional sports teams to their destination. So they were ahead of their time in a sense, but those are one in a generation projects. So our industry quickly turned into what we now know as sports tourism, of bringing events to your community throughout the year, not just for those big events and not just for relocation of teams. Although we see more of it, right, with teams hopping around to different cities, excuse me, and also new franchises. I forgot to mention when we were talking about women's sports, just the newly created Columbus Fury. We had a chance to be there at their opening the other day, the Women's Professional Volleyball League, and I just think it has such a bright future. But our industry in general is just very fruitful. There's probably over 300 cities that are out competing against all the events that actually move around the country. So we're considered one of the top sports commissions in the country. We have a staff of 12. Indianapolis, a lot of people know about the Indiana Sports Corporation. They have been around a long time too, and they probably have a staff of 30 and a huge budget. Our budget is about $3.5 million, which is, for a city our size, is pretty substantial. But Indianapolis, for those of you that might know that city and the work that they do, they had a really big strategy several years ago to not only start a sports commission, but they lured the NCAA to their city. They brought the National Federation of High School Sports there. They found a way to, of course, attract the NBA that was already there, but with the Colts moving there several years ago. So they just had a master plan for their downtown that really was about amateur sports, and they've really done a great job. So we like to say that we give them a run for their money every now and again, but they certainly in the Midwest are one of the standard bearers as well as Columbus, I'd like to say. So keep going here. The work that we do does also impact the residents. We'd like to say that each household probably benefits from the work that we do by lessening your taxes by probably at least $1,000, maybe a little bit more. We'll have a new study about some of those data points that will come out again next year. But I just think it's important just to talk a little bit about those tax dollars and the fact that we do not only get a share of the hotel tax that does fund us, but we like to think that we give the dollars back too. So for every dollar that's given to us, we at least think that we can give back at least close to $20 back into the community. So it's a good ROI for the work that we do. Right. So I'm going to talk a little bit about March Madness. We're a city that really excels when it comes to college athletics. Obviously, having the Ohio State, one of the largest universities in the country, gives us entree to so many things. Not only men's and women's basketball, but fencing, swimming, the amazing facilities on campus at Ohio State enable us to really bid on a lot of things. So in 2023, we were the first city in maybe 30 years to host NCAA basketball, men's and women's, on the same weekend. And we were, of the 8 sites for the men's basketball for the first and second rounds, we were the highest netting city for ticket purchases. So Columbus really does show up. Although there were people that traveled far and wide with the 8 teams that were here, we are known for selling a lot of tickets in Columbus, so that is one of the reasons that people like to come back, because the bottom line is always met, or most, at least most of the time. So we're very proud of that, and a big event like that will, again, bring a lot of, retain jobs, possibly create new jobs, and then think about the visitor touch points. We'd like to say that when you're here for an NCAA basketball tournament, we tell our restaurants in that surrounding area, make sure that you have fast and friendly service, sizzling steaks and cold beer, because between those sessions, you can walk right out of the door of Nationwide Arena and there's 100 restaurants of varying price points, but you've got to be ready. And I think that's one of the things both Experience Columbus and the Sports Commission does really well, is to really orchestrate the efforts for these big events, so that not only do the athletes have a great experience, but the fans do as well. So that will lead me to talk a little bit about big event that we just had in Columbus, the US Figure Skating Championships. They were just here in January of 2024. And I will tell you, I was first hired by Experience Columbus in 1997. And I have some notes that my first meeting with the US Figure Skating was in 1998. For those original 5 years that I was employed by Experience Columbus, I was a staff of one competing against all of those 30 people in Indianapolis, but we were also creating the Greater Columbus Sports Commission. So it took us about 5 years to get our efforts off the ground, raise money, get board members, just come up with our strategy. But it was fun as our team was putting together kind of a benchmarking study, a case study of how we got figure skating to Columbus. One of our marketing guys said, "Did you really call on them in 1998? Because I went back to the notes and they were actually in there, thank goodness," as someone that preaches about using your software. But there was a note in there that was my first call. And that event, although it took some 20 years to get here, it really, really did very, very well. But it took us a long time to get the arena, Nationwide Arena, to agree to host the event. They have so many other things going on that time of year. Their focus really is to have a very successful hockey team. So it probably took us, obviously, almost 15, 20 years to get the green light to go in and pursue it. So Mike Gatto, the general manager of Nationwide, he'd be a great speaker for you, by the way. He started coming with us to see the event. I bet I've gone to a dozen of them over the years. And think of it as courting. You're really courting a group to make sure, A, that it works in your city, B, that you can beat out the competition and understand what it takes. But so during our courting session of going to these events over the years, we hosted their annual meeting twice, in 2005 and 2016, where we had their decision makers in our city so that they could see that Columbus, you do have two 20,000 seat arenas, the Schottenstein Center and Nationwide Arena. Hey, there's hotels that are really close to the convention center and to the arena. There's all kinds of things to do, not only for the figure skaters themselves, but for our fans. So finally, I think we convinced US Figure Skating, Nationwide Arena, and our community to throw our hat in the ring. But we had to guarantee $2.8 million to host that event. That was a combination of ticket sales and raising dollars in the community. So we put we tossed our hat in, and we were able to raise close to $1 million from the city, the county, the state of Ohio, the Convention Facility Authority, and corporations to give us that 1 million. And then I'm proud to say that we sold about $1.7 million worth of tickets. And that's where the community comes into play. Certainly there were 2,000 or 3,000 people that travel to that event wherever it goes, but you really have to rely on the host city to come out and really support those big events. Most people probably don't recognize that there's somebody's taking a financial risk, whether it's the arena themselves for a concert, or Ohio State might want an event on campus, but somebody is trying to make those numbers come together. And I must admit, in my 21 years on the job here, really more like 27 if I count my time at Experience Columbus, we've been very successful in not losing money. So in November, as the ticket sales started mounting for figure skating, I said to my board, I'm not sure if we're gonna make our number this year for this figure skating event. So we were just at a point in time where I just thought that our ticket sales should have been more robust. But boy, it all came together. So Christmas came, we had a huge campaign, NBC being an Olympic partner and a national partner with figure skating. We did so much work with them. We activated all around the community. I'm gonna talk a little bit about those partnerships. But I am so proud of our city because we ended up having probably the best attendance that they've had in close to 10 years. And as far as rolling out the red carpet, some of those athletes, other than being at the Olympics, they've never skated in front of such a large crowd before. So Johnny Weir and Tara Lipinski and others were commenting throughout the week. We had 17 sessions, but they were so happy with just the atmosphere, and really it resonated with the athletes as well. So it was just one of those prouder moments where you're not sure how it's going to go, but you have a hunch sometimes, and obviously you can't bank on a hunch. So our process really is to do all the homework I talked about, due diligence, go to these events, talk to other cities that are hosting. And one thing I'm so proud of with our industry is that whether I'm competing against Cleveland or Kansas City, all of us really are friends. We might not share our financials, but I can pick up the phone and say, hey, Greensboro, you hosted this. Hey, San Jose, what did you think? Hey, Detroit, what were your pitfalls? How come you didn't get your numbers? And we're really good at sharing. So we had a pretty good idea of what we had to do, but then you're kind of leaving it to a robust marketing campaign and hoping that the community will resonate with this big event. So some of the cool things that we did, maybe next time I can send a few. We're putting together a video that wasn't quite ready for me to share with you, but I want to just tell you about 2 or 3 of the things that we did to partner with the community. So for instance, GCAC, the Arts Council gave us a $25,000 grant. And with that, we were able to hire so many local artists that we had to do a lot of gifting for the athletes, so that we had beautiful prints that were done. We had scarves that were made locally for the athletes, so when they got their medal, they also wore a Columbus scarf. We then activated with ice sculptures on the plaza at Nationwide Arena. We also kicked off our ticket campaign during the Pride Parade and had ice skaters come in and roller skate during the Pride Parade. And then the Columbus Metropolitan Library is just coming off celebrating our 150th anniversary. They were an amazing partner. They put together what they called Rockefeller Center, and you might have read about it, but they put an ice rink inside the main library branch. It wasn't necessarily ice, but it was a rink, and kids could skate in their socks. And that was really, really cool. We had some families that told us that one mother was able to tell some of the people at the library that her kids suffered from sickle cell anemia, so they never ice skate out in the cold. And that, are you going to have this next year? And so we hope that there's some legacy pieces from this event as well. We had 2 book signings, one with Gracie Gold, and she talked about her struggles with bulimia. And so we had about 400 people that came to that book reading. And then I got to interview Nancy Kerrigan. She just wrote a children's book, and almost 1,000 people signed up. It was all free, but you had to sign up at the main library. And do you know that she stayed for 2.5 hours to sign her books afterwards? We sold out of the books, but again, it was just another way to touch the community. Then we worked with the Columbus College of Art and Design, and I had this thought one day, it's such a beautiful sport, figure skating. Is there a tie here? So I met with their CEO, Melanie Korn, and we came up with a plan where a class, along with one of their alumni, in this case, Austin Tootle, would design a costume for one of the figure skaters. So then US Figure Skating put out a call to their main skaters to say, would anybody like to have one of their costumes designed by Columbus artists? So Isabel Levito, who is the #1 skater in the world right now, she said yes. She's only 16 and she's just an up and comer, and she's agreed to do it. So this class, along with Austin, designed this beautiful costume that she ended up wearing on that Sunday night. And she didn't know this, but she was being interviewed by NBC on the ice, and they talked about the design. And they said, Isabel, did you know that there's 40,000 rhinestones that were sewn onto this costume just this week? You know, just the look on her face alone was just amazing. But it was just another way for us to tell our story and connect Columbus. And then probably my favorite moment, Jason Brown, who was the silver medalist, he was a bronze medalist in the Olympics, but in my 30-some years of being in sports, he is my #1 favorite athlete that I've ever worked with, bar none now. Just so gracious and wonderful. He came in for a promotion with us this summer. We happened to have someone from the Columbus Symphony there, and he said, I could skate live to the symphony on that Sunday night after the competition. And those of us that were a little nervous about that thought, he means recording it, right? And he's like, no, I think I can really skate live to the symphony. So if you didn't see it, you can find it on YouTube. So the symphony and Jason did this amazing skate together on Sunday night. That was on national television, and the musicians were beautiful, and he was so graceful, and it all came together. I know I had my moments where as soon as they talked about the idea, I'm like, how much is this gonna cost, first of all? Can we do this? Can we afford this? But it was not a lot of money when we were able to get, a few sponsors for that. And it was so Columbus. It was just so beautiful, and no one had ever done that before live. So again, just another way of us kind of showing our arts community what we're made of. And so you can tell I like this event a lot, right? So it was very a proud moment and then to see all the people that came, we made our 2.8, so I didn't have to go into the cash reserves. So all's well that ends well, but it was just another example of just those 3 things I talked about: economic development, raising the image of Columbus, because we heard just so many great things from people from all over the country. And then that quality of life piece of just doing great things for the community through sports. So a great story about figure skating. It didn't go so well. I would have still told you all about it today, but it ended up being a great event for us. So anyway, I got caught up in that one. Keep going. And the media was great. I should add that the numbers over the weekend, we were the #1 time slot on Friday night on NBC, and #1 time slot on Saturday on NBC, and the #2 slot on Sunday. This was January 28th, second only to the NFL. So not only was NBC happy, but we were happy too. It's not often you can be #2. All right, so a new trend in sports commissions, besides bidding on these big events, is to create events that you own and operate. So over the years, we have created 2 events that we now own and operate. One is the Community Cup. Think of that as a corporate challenge where companies around Columbus compete against each other. So any of you are interested in that, it's 4 divisions based on the size of your company. So Division 1 is like the Safe Flight and Nationwide. You have to have over 1,000 employees in Central Ohio. Down to Division 1, which is under 100. And you compete, it's a 1-day event, it's on a Friday from 8 o'clock till about 2 p.m. So it's a great way to get people out of the office. You compete in a dozen sports or more, and it becomes bragging rights. You end up hoisting the cup. You take it back to your company for the next year, like the Stanley Cup, it moves around, right? So the Columbus Foundation is our presenting sponsor. And what we realized 7 years ago when we created this event was the fact that people like yourself might not know what the Sports Commission does. And we wanted a way to tell our story a little better, just to the average Columbus resident. And also, it's become a fundraiser for us too. So it's become kind of a win-win for us. But it is amazing just to see the competition. Some companies, they have tryouts for their players or their employees. Some people say when they're recruiting, they're like, hey, you talk about one thing, So it's just become great. We thought we were gonna show you a video, but it's not working. But if you go to our website, we have a really great video that tells you a little bit more about the Community Cup. And then our community camp, we started that over COVID when kids were not able to compete at their sports levels. And it's a camp for kids, sports sampling camp where kids 6 through 12 learn a dozen sports over 4 days. That's also presented by the Columbus Foundation. And people can sponsor kids every day you learn 4 sports. Some of our coaches are the Ohio State coaches, like the volleyball coach and the fencing coach. So the commitment on the part of a coach is only a couple hours because you're there for just a couple hours on one day. So it's proved to be a really great event for us, and we're hoping to track these kids and see that, hey, this kid never picked up a lacrosse stick before, oh, and he's doing really well, so coaches then start following their careers. So it's something new for us. Again, we have a nice video that wasn't able to make that work today, but it is just another way for us to kind of give back to the community and also keep people playing sports. What we're learning is that kids drop out of sports now, especially girls. So is there a way that we could influence just the future of youth sports? So that, we're just one small piece of that, but the Advent did give us a national award for our camp, and it's something that we're proud of, so. Okay, how are we doing on time? All right, I'll leave some time for questions here. Yeah, I think I'm just about finished here. All right, so should we open up for questions? Yeah, hi there. Nice to see you.
Schwarzenegger Classic or the Arnold Classic is, I didn't really hear that much about it anymore. It was, huge. Is it not covering it or is it?
You know, this weekend, so, just so for context, the Arnold, Sports Festival started almost 40 years ago now by Jim Lorimer, who's from Worthington. He passed away last year. That is one sporting event that Experience Columbus, our sister organization, they kept that event back when I was a staff of one, and I was charged with bringing in new business. We decided to keep that account at Experience Columbus. So although we do a supporting role there, they do have kind of new management. You know, Arnold bought it from the Lorimer family, and they have a new person in charge. So they did cut out a lot of the sports that probably weren't big money makers, where it used to be like 50 some sports. I think they're down to maybe 25 or 30. So it's still happening. They're at the convention center. It's just under what I would say, new management. So they're not spending as much probably on marketing externally. It'll be interesting to see what the numbers are. This is that second full year coming out of COVID now, but you know, it's still a very important event for Columbus, and we hope that we can keep it here for years to come. I did have kind of a stressful time. You probably noticed that we just booked the NHL outdoor game for March the 1st for next year, which just so happens on the same weekend as the Arnold. So we did try to move it. We did try to get the NHL to do it on a different day, but because of television and international competitions, so we're just gonna be a big, you know, we are a big sports city now, but that's gonna be a big weekend. Speaking of Arnold.
What's it gonna take to get the Ohio boys football and basketball championship tournaments back in Columbus?
Yes, good question. So during COVID, the boys and girls basketball tournaments moved to Dayton. And that was in large part because Franklin County was a lot stricter during that time frame during the pandemic. So we were only allowing, and forgive me for not remembering the exact numbers, but maybe 300 or 400 fans. So I just think that Montgomery County was, that Montgomery, isn't it? Yeah. So anyway, the restrictions were different there. So that's what initially lured them there. So they've decided to stay. They signed a multi-year contract, and they do, Doug Yu is a great, you know, the executive director of Ohio High School Athletic Association. I think they're happy there for now, unfortunately for Columbus, but they're able to, it's not, the rent's not as expensive there too. So I think it's gonna be a while before they come back, so.
Oh, yeah.
So we shall see.
Does Ohio State charge too much in rent? I've heard that regarding the Cavelli Center, which should be hosting district basketball events. And I'm told nobody can afford it.
Yeah, I mean, that is,
State-owned facility.
yeah, that is a consideration, that their prices are different. And then as far as the state football championships go, sometimes it depends on the coaches too. So I know Jim Tressel really wanted the state football championships here, and we did 2 or 3 years here at Ohio Stadium. And at the time, it kind of dwarfed, although it was a fantastic experience for the student athletes for sure. But I know the first game was Joe Burrow as quarterback at Athens High School, and he lost, you know, just remember being there. But so they've signed another 4 years in Canton, so it won't be anytime soon. And I think I think Coach Day would like to consider getting them back here. So it's kind of a combination of all of the above, the price points, the desire of the program. and then what fits for the city. So for now, both of those will not be back in the immediate future for Columbus.
And parking.
And parking, well, the Friday parking was a consideration, yeah, yeah.
I understand that OSU's like on a 5-year program to get the Division I golf for both men and women. Is that true? And what do you do to sponsor them?
Wait, for NCA, you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah, so we're in the bidding cycle right now for the years 26 and 27 with the NCAA. So it's kind of a master, typically it's a 4-year bid cycle. But the NCAA wanted to, with a new president, they decided just to only put 2 years out for bid. So the process is this, is that Ohio State and the other Division II and III colleges meet with us, and they'll give us kind of their wish list. These are the events we'd like to bid on. These are the ones like, I don't think our team's gonna be that good this year. Why don't we wait till the next cycle? So I know golf is one that we always like to have in the pipeline, but I think probably the soonest that they would come back again. I mean, I think there's, I have to look at my notes right now, but to see, but I think golf is always one that they do like having here for sure. Now, the state golf tournament is moving for at least 1 year because of a conflict at Ohio Stadium, or I mean, at the Scarlet, so they're moving to Akron at least for 1 year too, so speaking of golf. Any other questions?
I do, where do they do pencil?
Pistol is, it's kind of that building right near St. John, there's kind of a Quonset hut. There's a name to it, of course, it escapes me right now, but it's right around the corner of where the ice rink is.
Right.
So it's right on campus there, but it just looks like a regular, school, but a classroom area. But in the basement, they have this big room that has all the targets in it, so they don't have very many spectators. And then sometimes they have used the French Field House for some of the later rounds. Yeah. So they have.
Are you guys at all involved in motorsports in Columbus?
Not as much, not as much. I know that, there have been a few discussions, same with BMX. But currently not now. I mean, are you thinking of like a big outdoor race of some sort?
Yeah, I'm remembering that race that used to be downtown.
Columbus 500.
Yeah, that predates me. I wasn't living here then, but I know it was highly successful at that time. I know Las Vegas has one now, and I think Miami. So nothing in the foreseeable future that I've heard of anyway.
So about the rumors of the BMX, are they doing anything with the old stadium?
That has died down a little bit. So I haven't heard lately what the plans are for the old, Cooper Stadium. But, obviously the success of Huntington Park, you've got the Savannah Bananas coming. For those of you that are familiar with kind of like the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball, they're coming in and so sell out in 3 days, and so, but nothing new to report there.
Yeah, I didn't get tickets either.
I know, did they already announce it?
They already did, yeah.
Oh, I better look tonight. Any other questions?
Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you. Wonderful to hear all the good stuff. All right, before we adjourn, Charlie's got a raffle bucket full of winning tickets.
Today's, $18 will cover your lunch and maybe a tip. Here's your opportunity. Pick yourself as the winner. He really wants to be the winner. Whoever has the last 4, 6, 1, 5, 4.
Never
You
been
put your own part.
All right.
Everybody has $18. Who's in charge of the,
That goes to the.
Thank you.
For the ace of spades, we have 120. Mr. Shear, would you like to pull one out?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Last 4 are 6, 1, 7, 8.
Here we go.
Okay.
Pull it up, man.
Good job.
We're done.
Thanks for playing. All right, we're up for the four-way test. Of the things we think, say, and do first, second, third, and fourth.
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you. Don't forget to turn in your badges.
Ways and Means Committee will meet next week, right now, next week. Thank you.
Okay, now we're adjourned.
Come back.
Thank you so much.
I finished writing.